So today we are going to be making a slab Madriguera face, and a slab is, so I'm going to use my slab roller, but it's just a flat piece of clay about finger thickness. And for this project, you're going to start off with kind of like an oval shape. It could be more rounded if you want, that's fine, but usually the faces are very elongated, that's why I say oval. And then you're gonna need a water cup, and this water cup has some slip water in it, so it'll make it really nice when we attach everything. And then of course a clay tool, and then a paper towel. So you're gonna have that paper towel underneath your clay as you're working. And if you don't have the paper towel underneath here, the clay will stick to the table, okay? So I'm just kind of drawing to start with, kind of like this oval shape. This is for my head. And then I'm just gonna cut it out. And I'm not worried about having one continuous piece. I'm more worried about keeping my clay tool straight and perpendicular to the table, so I get a nice clean edge. And if your paper towel rips, that's fine. Take it and fold it. So I've got my shape here. And if it's not quite what you want, you can use your tool to trim it. And then after this, I am going to smooth out the edges. So this is where that slip water is going to come in handy. So I'm just going around the edges, and then I kind of take my finger and thumb and kind of go around there so I don't have any rough areas. Because today your clay is nice and soft and easy to move around. But the next time you come in here, it's going to be bisqueware, which means it's been fired, the first round of firing in the kiln, and it's going to be hard. Okay, it's gonna be like glass. So you want to get rid of like little areas like this, because those little areas, if you think about it, once that becomes fired, that's gonna become very, very sharp. So you want to make sure everything is smooth. So in this project, it's not gonna be really complicated because it's very modern looking, but it does need to be nice and smooth. Okay, so I've got my front, my back. I can stamp in my initials in the back, or use a tool and write my initials in here, and I'll write your class code so you don't even have to worry about that. And then I've got a nice surface here. Now, if the texture on here is bothering you, you can use that rolling pin and it will smooth things out, but be careful not to flatten it too much. And then I've got a nice start, let's see, for my face. Okay, so I'm gonna kind of set that aside. Then I'm gonna take this extra clay that I have, I'm gonna kind of wad it up. Okay, and then I want to knead it because right now there's air bubbles in there. So you're going to press it, lift it up, twist it. Press, lift up, twist. Press, lift up, twist. And you can do this on your paper towel because you can see I'm kind of sticking here. This is a little bit nicer. So I'm kneading the clay, getting rid of any kind of bubbles. And then now I'm going to make a coil. So to start off with a coil, I kind of make it look more cylinder-like. Then I'm gonna take my hand and my fingers and I'm gonna roll it. And this time I do like to roll my clay on my table. Now, right now I know I have a huge piece for what I need. So I'm just gonna cut that and set this little piece aside. If one side seems a little thicker, you just kind of pat it down and then you keep working. So I'm just starting the center and moving my way out, patting it down when I need to. Now, once it starts to get a little bit longer, you're gonna notice my fingers kind of spread apart. And you want this coil to be about the size of your pinky or your finger. And the reason why is you want it to be fairly thin. Now this is getting really long. I'm gonna cut it, set that aside. It's a little oblong, not perfectly round, so I'm just gonna lightly tap it and keep rolling, okay? Now, once you have a good thickness, about finger thickness, pinky thickness, then you can kind of set it on your clay. And most of these faces, you'll have like an eyebrow down to where the nose is. And I can use this to kind of cut that off. And if you just set it on here like this, it's gonna pop off. So you're gonna kind of score it. So what I'm gonna do, so I know where to score it, I'm just gonna lightly create a little line on one side. Then I'm gonna score the clay. And I'm not worried because I'm gonna be smoothing things out. And what this does is it's gonna lock the clay together. So just roughing it up so you create like a tooth, or teeth I should say. And then you're gonna set the two, oopsie, I'm gonna get a little slip water. A little slip water over there. Then I'm gonna set the two pieces on top of each other. I give it a little wiggle. Okay, making sure there's no air bubble. Okay, this is where this clay tool is gonna come in handy. I personally like this round side, curved side, and I'm using that clay tool to smooth it out. You can use your finger. Now, you see how much water, it's shiny? So make sure if you use water, you wanna make sure you rub it in. So remember, water for clay is kind of like lotion is for your skin. So you would never walk out of the house with a big blob of white lotion on. You would make sure you rub it in. So you want to do the same thing with the clay, because if you let it sit there, it's going to start eroding. It'll be starting to eat away that clay and it falls apart. So I'm going to smooth this out, rub it in, and it absorbs really nicely. But this is attached really well. Now my end here is a little rough. I'm going to kind of smooth it out. Same thing down here. Sorry. So I've got my nose, and then I have my brow line. So now I can work on the mouth and the eye, and I'm going to roll this out a little bit smaller, a little bit thinner for the eye. That's it. Just a little bit thinner. So this is getting even thinner than my finger. And I kind of figure out how much I need. Then I'm going to cut it. Kind of score. I'm going to set that right on top. It's a little bit big, so I'm going to cut at the end again. Press it down. Got kind of going off the side. Now with the nose, I kind of smooth out both sides. As long as you do one side, that's all you need. So I'm just going to work on and focus on one side of my eye. And just try to get in there. Your craftsmanship, how smooth it is going to be really important. Since this is a very simple and modern looking piece, you want it to be nice and clean. Then you've got the bottom part of the eye. Kind of match it up. You can use your thumb to make marks. Okay, score. Set that on there. Kind of give it a little push. Get rid of any air bubbles. I could use this tool here to kind of trim this. Sorry, wrong side. And I'm going to smooth it out with my tool again. I'm going to use a little bit of water. And the eyeball, I can just leave it like this. I could add an actual piece of clay for my eye. See that tool's just working really nice to kind of clean things up, even take away some extra clay that's unwanted. And the eye, like I said, I could add that. I could take the end here and kind of push it in to make the eye. If you want to use a little bit of water on the end here, because my finger is not going to fit in this area. Now I've got my eye, my nose, my brow, and then I'm going to make a little pair of lips. So I'm just going to measure that, and I have a teeny little lip down here. Let me score it. Place it on there. Oops, I should have used my water. Push it a little bit. Give it a little push. And if you just set it on there, it's gonna fall off. So you have to make sure you kind of press down a little bit and then at least smooth one side. And I'm using just the end of this tool. A popsicle stick would work really nice for this part. Something with just a rounded area. A little bit of water. A little water on the surface. And making sure to rub it in. Anywhere my finger can't fit, I can use a tool like this to kind of smooth it out. And I could leave it like this. Or sometimes you'll see little nostrils. Could have a little nostril on either side. Why not? And before I attach, I want to make sure they're about the same size. So I'm going to pinch off a little bit. Yep. So kind of create a scoring, or X marks a spot. Sorry, a little bit of slip water. Press it down. Give it a little push. Oops, I got a little extra clay. And at least smooth it out on one side so it's attached. And then don't get rushed to turn it in. Before you turn it in, make sure you've checked all the areas and make sure it's smoothed.